All right, everybody, welcome to Gym Life Podcast, episode number 9. We are off to the races here the first week of October. Just finished up with a great September, and we have a lot to look forward to this month as well. Just a quick reminder out there, we've certainly appreciated everybody's interaction with the podcast. We put the feet to the fire a little bit. Robbie's refused to work unless we get subscribes. So we did get some subscribers for our Facebook, our YouTube. So I appreciate that. So with that said, again, we appreciate everybody's support. We'd like to see that support continued, of course. It keeps us energized on our end, and it certainly all the interaction that you give us gives us new ideas about guests and just different things we want to do here at the podcast as well. So keep all that good stuff coming. We really appreciate it. Anything to add?
No, there's one thing that you don't actually know about, and I just waited for the episode to be able to surprise you with. We're going to be running a little contest for new subscribers on our YouTube. There's a company, and I'm not going to say who they are yet because you're going to put it on our Instagram. You just don't know it. Oh, wow. That's going to be giving away some free stuff. So we're going to run a contest. I'll get you all that information. So the point being for all you guys listening is you're going to have to subscribe to our Instagram so that you can get all the information and also subscribe to our YouTube.
Wow, it's a pretty big announcement.
It's interesting. Yeah,
great. I guess I am in the dark.
I figured out I would, we'd bring it out right here on the episode. I wasn't going to tell you ahead of time.
Full of surprises. I love this. Maybe every week now I have to hold his feet to the fire on that. With us here today is our co-host Amber. Amber was with us a couple weeks ago. She's going to be an integral part of this show as we kind of get moving on and talk about some of the things we want to talk about. So hello, Amber, and thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure to be back.
Yeah, good week this week after your strongman comp?
Physically, no. Mentally, the best.
Oh, good. Yeah, that physical part's kind of tough to...
It was brutal.
Yeah, how you feeling today? A little bit better?
Feeling much better.
Training good. Yeah, we have actually states coming up, and Robbie has states coming up, so we're in this 1 month window right now to make up for maybe some lost training time and get back and get ready to go in that direction. With that said, states, coming up on our end, of course, which is nothing important to anybody out there except us. We have some great guests coming on. Finally got a connection there with Gary Turner, the Real G6. We have his interview scheduled for this Tuesday in the morning. So by the time you get this dropped, we'll already be recording Gary, and we'll obviously get that out there shortly thereafter. Same thing with Ashley Ramyak. And Ashley, if I'm killing your name right now, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm sure you murdered.
I do that to everybody. I'm finding out. I'm getting everybody's name wrong. But in any case, Ashley's coming on with us, and she's going to be an awful lot of fun to talk to. Former Army Ranger, which I love that.
They're my people.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. Yeah, I bleed red, white, and blue over here, man. So I love to hear those kind of backstories. So we'll get with Ashley on all that and all the great stuff that she does as an IFBB pro. And there's a lot going on there, I'll tell you. She's been around for a bit and certainly has her feet in a lot of these different competitions. Along with that, Donna Moore got a hold of me today. The world's strongest woman 3 times. Yeah, she got a hold of me today and said, hey, let's set something up. So we're trying to figure out an exact date because as everybody knows out there, Donna's a pretty busy woman this time of year, especially with World's Strongest Woman coming up and all the stuff that she's got going on. So we'll nail that down. We did finally get our interview with Julia Renee, and we're going to get that out to you guys soon. And that was a great interview and can't wait to share that with you, as well as the Hannah Lindsay interview that we're still kind of working on the editing side of that. We lost some video in it, so we're trying to do some things there to get that out to you as soon as possible. So I think that's all of our house cleaning. As far as, is it house cleaning or housekeeping? I keep forgetting that.
Keeping. But you know what? We're a different podcast. You can call it whatever you want. Call it house cleaning. Okay. We do house cleaning here.
So I ask Robbie that every time and I get it wrong.
Might be the first time 2 dudes did house cleaning.
Yeah, maybe true. Okay, so save that for later, right? What a misogynistic comment that is. In any case, what are we going to start with today? I know what you want to start with, so let me think before you get talking about this because I know you're pretty fired up about it. Is there anything out there I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, I do. I want to mention that America's Strongest Man was the other day, and there were some Josh Silvas won the heavyweight, and Nick Canby, to no surprise, the log press champion, won the lightweight division. I would just point everybody to the Facebook page of Strongman Corporation. They got a lot of good information on there. It's not easy to find all this information, I'm going to tell you right now. It actually boggles my mind that some of these big events like this are hard to come by good information outside of maybe a Facebook page or something. But
you know why?
Yeah, why is that?
They didn't invite the Gym Life podcast.
They didn't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we would have.
Had we been there, all the results would be out there. There'd be athlete interviews. be a really cool promo video.
You know, and I'm always looking for stuff to throw on that damn Instagram, so you know I'd have been all over it. So yeah, next time,
guys.
Corp, let us know. We'll come out to your show. Yeah. But they're actually doing in Florida here. I think next weekend is the America's Strongest Woman. So we'll try to get a little bit up on that and try to get as much information out to you guys as we possibly can. Short of that. Yeah, Rhea Lovelace. Shoot, I don't want to forget that. You know, Rhea, as you know, is a friend of the show.
She is
we had
now,
a great interview with her. She won, to no surprise, Rhea wins a lot as a lightweight competitor. We know that. But she competed as a heavyweight at the UK Arnold for log press and deadlift this last weekend, and she won both events.
Yeah, which is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's been, you know, on her list of things to do. That's kind of been her thing, is moving into the heavyweight and dominating that division at her current body weight. Not getting heavier, guys, staying where she is.
That's right.
And
let's be clear about that.
And competing with the heavyweights. And she clearly has the knowledge, the ability, you know, to do that. And for her to go out and do both of those events and win both of those events is an amazing thing. The other thing cool was she was on the Be Inspired stage up there in between events, which was kind of a sit down, kind of round table talk with some of the athletes. And what a perfect person to have up on that stage, right? I mean, Be Inspired epitomizes Rhea. She's just that person. If you haven't heard, go back and listen to our interview with her, because she tells her backstory way better than I ever could. But she's got a lot in her backstory that's kind of led her to where she's at, and she's just an inspirational and just a lovable person.
Yeah,
her whole team over there at Chaos, honestly, like I talked to a bunch of the girls over at Chaos now. They message me every once in a while on the Instagram. They're just amazing people. So big shout out to Rhea. We love you to death, girl, and we're gonna get her back on the show sometime.
Yeah, we're fortunate.
I feel like, you know, we got to hang out.
Yeah, we might be able to do that in Florida. We talked about that in November.
Yep.
So, but yeah, Rhea definitely has got a place in our heart for sure. She a great person and certainly an awesome strength athlete.
Yeah,
that's exciting. So heavyweight log, heavyweight deadlift, and as a heavyweight competitor, I told you this once before. It's not fun to see these lightweights come up like the Justin Blake kind of guys I refer to, but it is an awesome spectacle, and I can only
what
imagine
better way to push the sport, right?
Absolutely.
What better way to push the sport?
Yeah. So in any case, IPF Worlds, we're going to get onto that. Amber, we just showed you the video, and it's really hard for me to think about what direction I want to think about this, right? Because this girl's following all the rules. But we just saw the video, and you saw a bench press video that Robbie just showed you of the 115 pounder, was she? Robbie?
Yeah, 114 pounds, I think.
Yeah, 242 pound bench press. What do you think about that range of motion?
As long as you play devil's advocate for the rest of this.
I will. Yeah, I will. That's my job.
I think it's garbage.
Yeah.
I think somebody who has to bench press in competition, cool, you can get your arms out that far. Cool, you're like short enough to do that. But like, what about the rest of us who can't do that? I think there's an unfair advantage. So I was mentioning this like beforehand. There's got to be some rule in play that will allow it to be fair for everybody, no matter what your height, your weight, whatever.
What Robbie, go ahead and explain the lift and tell us what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so what happened, she was a junior. First of all, I don't want to take anything away from her. She's a junior. She did everything within the rules, and she set a new world record. Congratulations to her. This is not a gripe with her. This is a gripe with the IPF and powerlifting in general. I can't even just, I'll get on the IPF later, so I can't just leave this to the IPF. Yep. Powerlifting in general. We have these rules in powerlifting that are put in place. You know, for the bench press, you can't have your hands outside of the powerlifting rings on the bench, on the bar. That's what those rings are literally there for, is for the bench press. She's probably 4'8", which means her arm spans at 4'8" or less. So she's able to get her hands out onto the rings legally and get her arch, which is legal. Her butt's on the bench, her back is on the bench, but that made her range of motion literally an inch.
It was a 1 inch.
It was almost like if you watch the video, you almost don't see the bar move.
Yeah.
And I say it kind of jokingly, but also a little seriously. She could have taken a big deep breath in and touched that bar.
Yeah.
You know, she could have done the bench press without having to move her arms legally, almost, which is ridiculous. So, again, take nothing away from the girl. She did everything right. The problem is that with that standard of the rings on the bar works for probably 90% of us, 95% of us, makes us have some sort of range of motion, some shorter than others. You know what? That's okay, because some people's squat range of motion is shorter than others because they're wide stance, narrow stance, whatever. That's fine. We're allowed to have a little anonymity between them. We're allowed to have a little bit of difference. But if we're going to allow it that we only have a 1-inch range of motion, then we need to get rid of those marks and let me go all the way out to the collars.
Exactly.
Or we need to have a standard range of motion. It has to be a minimum, like you said, a minimum of 3 inches or more, right? There has to be some sort of standard for that, because don't get me wrong, I mean, unracking 248 pounds with your arms out that wide it's not easy. It's not like
a different movement altogether.
Yeah, that's not like it was an easy feat, but it darn sure made the press a whole different movement, because she never had to get into her chest. She never had to get it through the tricep transition, right? There's parts of the bench press that we all have to train individually to be able to complete the bench press that she just completely skipped.
Yeah. I don't know what you would call it. Almost a
fly.
I guess a fly. I don't even know how to describe that.
She did a 248-pound fly.
And I want to piggyback you guys as well, to no fault of hers. I mean, she's using the rules to her advantage.
100%.
Hey, I mean, I think anybody would do the same thing.
Yeah, if you don't have a competitive advantage, don't compete.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there is any change. What I love the most about that video, and I'm going to take an impartial stance on it because you guys have already gave it to her pretty good, but certainly she stayed within the rules, and I'd like to see some rules change. I think we can say that about all these little things. She's a one-off, though. There's no doubt about it. The bad news is if you're competing in her weight class, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, what we're looking at in the big picture, because she is a one-off. I don't think there's a situation that I can remember or have seen a video of. I've seen some pretty close. I mean, particularly like with geared lifting. I think some of our friends in geared lifting could obviously attest to that. Bit wider stance, bit more. You're set up a little differently. But yeah, in that particular event, I think maybe she was the only one. I will say the funniest thing about that was when the announcers were announcing it. They were trying to stay in the pocket and here goes Susie Smith, and she's got a great bench press, and here it goes, and she's going to try to break her world record. I can't believe they didn't laugh at some point or say, what the fuck is going on here? they stayed right in the pocket. So shout out to you announcers. You were really professional in that lift. Yeah. It was the funniest shit that I ever saw, though. So yeah, with that. Hey, and there was something else that happened there as well. Right.
At IPF Worlds?
At IPF Worlds.
Yeah.
There was more than one thing that happened. I know you're gearing up here. Train's coming down the track. Yeah. What was the second thing that pissed you off?
Okay, so the second thing that really, really grinded my gears, to take a little thing from Family Guy, was there was a Masters 1A competitor, and there's a bunch of videos on it, so I'm not going to beat this with dead horse. But there's a Masters 1A competitor, I won't even say his name because he just doesn't deserve it, who competed and was able to do the squat 3 times in a squat suit that he put on underneath his shirt and singlet.
Right.
Potentially briefs. Nobody's actually confirmed it was a full suit. And then come out and compete in the bench press and complete 3 lifts in the bench press with a slingshot underneath his T-shirt.
Right, yeah.
Which he would have gold medaled in the squat.
Yeah.
He did okay in the bench, and there's not a whole lot of advantage in the deadlift. I don't think he could have got away with a deadlift suit but underneath his clothes. I don't think he could have pulled that off, maybe. But he was probably in place to podium, I would say, depending on where his deadlift is. And here's what angered me about it. And this is we're probably canceled after this episode.
Because, the powers that be will cancel us.
Here's what angered me about it.
Our sponsors will give us
about to get blackmailed.
Yeah, the people in the IPF did not catch him.
Yeah.
Another powerlifting group of guys caught him and literally chased him through the parking lot. The video is actually pretty funny because there was comments on there that said, and in that day, the world record for sprints by a powerlifter was also set, which is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
They literally chased him around the parking lot for 6 minutes before getting back to the facility, telling somebody in the IPF that he had squatted in a squat suit and benched in a slingshot before he was disqualified. Okay, the argument could be made he didn't get to actually podium. It got caught and everything is great.
Right.
The problem is that the IPF is the premier lifting federation. We've been told this through the USAPL's, cancellation by the IPF because they are the highest standard of lifting, the IPF. And the USAPL, we went through the drug testing thing. I'm not going to harp on that. Nobody in the IPF caught him. There's 4 spotters on there. There's 2 loaders. There's 3 judges. And he was able to come to the platform 6 times with equipment that is not approved and be caught only by another powerlifter.
Right, and the reason they would catch him because they're, in what we argue, is they're more familiar with the movements and what it looks
100%.
like than these judges, and not just in the IPF, because we see this in all
No,
these
just in the
federations.
IPF. I'm mad.
Well, I know you are, but I want to make sure that it's known, because I've been to other events as well, and I'm not. I just think there has to be a better job done in getting these judges prepared for what they're seeing, and there's a lot of different shit going on out there.
Yeah.
So not just the IPF. I can say the same about the USAPL. And as much as I love that federation, there's issues with judging there, and I think in large part because there's a lot of non-experienced lifters that become judges.
Sure, and I understand that, and that's, I get that argument, but my argument to that is that these are supposed to be the best judges in the world. They are judging IPF Worlds, which is the premier powerlifting federation at the premier event. This is the Super Bowl of powerlifting, and the crew that you bring could not spot a squat suit or a slingshot. Right. That's a problem to me. Yeah. That's a huge problem. This leads into the cancellation of the USAPL. I am personally calling for the USAPL to take over Worlds and just run it themselves, because there's been a history with the IPF. This is the problem. This is why I get so angry about it. 2016, they were dropping weights on people because they had spotters that weighed 90 pounds spotting 800-pound squats. Okay? They're not catching cheaters in here. They're literally allowing countries to not drug test because of the WADA rules and be compliant, but the USAPL, who wants to over-drug test, is not WADA compliant. I don't understand it, and it needs to be fixed. If this sport is going to ever be taken seriously like the IPF wants it to be, their whole push for this WADA thing is they want to be part of the IOC. They want to be part of the Olympic Committee. Watching these videos, how can you be part of the Olympic Committee?
Right.
Like, this is a problem.
There's at least 2 strikes on him.
I'm literally like this. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. How could this even have happened? And that's what bugs me about it. I don't care, that the USAPL is not part of the IPF. It little grinds my gears a little bit because I like those guys. But if you're claiming to be the best in the world and you're having the biggest event that you have literally of the world, how does this even get to the platform 6 times?
Yeah, no, it's a great argument to question the judging for sure, and who's got eyes on, right? Because they are involved in every other aspect of the competition. The judges are. Yeah. Except for actually physically checking these athletes to make sure they're not somehow manipulating opportunity and hiding suits, or what amazes me, a fucking slingshot. Are you kidding me? It's funny, as you're talking about that slingshot and that issue there at the IPF, that's what we see on YouTube a lot, right? These guys will hide this slingshot underneath their shirts, and that's how they're benching 600 or 700 pounds for reps. But you can easily see it even on the damn YouTube, is my point.
Right, yeah.
And these guys are now, this guy in particular is trying to pull this off 6 foot away from your head judge. Yeah. And he can't identify that he's wearing a slingshot. Yeah. To me, that blows my mind. I think we've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, and actually, this brings into strongman. Like, the rules between strongman and powerlifting are extremely different, because I actually discovered this at the competition last weekend. They said, don't question it, because it will become a rule. And if they can't see it, it's not happening. Yeah. So, the one thing that happened, I think I saw a girl wearing, a double belt. It's no big deal. But she said, I wear one underneath my shirt, and I wear one over the top. Helps me get extra brace. And they said they can't see it, so they don't care. So, is powerlifting becoming one of those things? We can't see it. We can't say anything?
Apparently. Yeah,
it's
it begs the question. I don't think so, but that's kind of where that's what we saw at IPF.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think that, to me, again, I'm gonna harp on it one more time. It's just these are the best judges in the world.
Yeah,
or at least they should be. And I watched the YouTube video. I mean, the guy has a straight line across his chest where a slingshot comes. A straight freaking line.
That's my point. Yeah.
Even if you didn't know it was a slingshot, somebody should go, hey, that looks a little weird.
Yeah.
Can somebody check on that guy?
Yeah, it's definitely pie in the face of the IPF right now, and hopefully they're sorting that stuff out. And like you said, I think being the top of the pyramid or the food chain when it comes to organizations that hold these world events, some competition is not a bad thing, and I do agree with you. I like the idea of the USAPL kind of maybe taking this on themselves.
I love it.
We champion that USAPL. Of course, we'll see the way that IPF this year, right?
Well, I said it, so it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. And when it does happen, we'll say we said it first. So the IPF Worlds, yeah, that's anyhow another check mark against the IPF. They're not exactly on top of my list as well as speaking kindly of them. So
I want it to be great.
I do too.
I want a great world event for powerlifting. We've talked about this before in strongman. I like the idea of one unifying organization, or at least one unifying pinnacle, right? Multiple different organizations that lead to this one pinnacle event. I love that idea. I think we get the best of the best to do that.
Yeah.
I want it to be great. It's so far from great right now. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think we feel that way in other sports as well. The only sport that seems to have gotten it right to this point is bodybuilding, right? Because they're all part of one organization, and whether that's our sport or not, everything kind of filters to one direction in bodybuilding. Now, and we don't see that in powerlifting. We certainly don't see it in strongman now. There's 4 different federations out there bidding for all these guys at these different competitions. But I do agree with you. There's got to be a better pathway, to get to the top. Moving on. Do we want to move on?
I'm ready to move on because I gotta unload on something else too. So save some energy.
Yeah, save some energy. So Amber sitting to my right patiently, really, because
she's here for this.
This is the big topic here. And let me preface this by saying this just kind of came out of the blue because of a post-event post that I did, on TikTok. And before you turn the camera off, George, don't stop. Don't do it yet. Give me a minute.
I know, but I have one more thing real quick before you go on about this TikTok thing. Last episode, you said if we got 1,000 subscribers on our TikTok, you would do a TikTok dance.
Well, let me.
How many subscribers are we at?
We're at like 6,000 right now. But despite the success the podcast page has had, and certainly to nothing that we did other than put Amber on there, honestly. I mean, so I think I fucked myself.
Yeah, you kind of.
Yeah, I mean, so anyhow, just to preface this for all the listeners out there, don't turn off the podcast. There's a reason for me going down this road right now, and I think all of us would have something to say about it, whether you're listening to this podcast or listening to us talk. I'm sure everybody has their opinion. So anyhow, as a podcast, we started, or I did anyhow, a TikTok just to put some video clips up of our podcast to try to, get some more people moving in our direction so they can discover who we are and what we're doing here, right? So that was the motivator, the good reason to do it. And it just so happened that we had this strongman event last week, and there was a real cool moment, and I think a lot of you out there, 1.2 million people saw this TikTok video now, which blows my mind. Because prior to that, I think I had a video on there that had a few thousand views going, oh, this is cool. We're getting a little exposure here, and then all of a sudden we post that video, which I had zero intention of it to actually go as big as it went. Even on our Instagram page, there were thousands of views on it, which was crazy because the normal video there is even just a few hundred. But in any case, we post this video of Amber doing a farmer's hold. And I thought this is just intense. At the moment that we saw that and what was taking place, and I'll have Amber describe it here in a second, is that it was just a very cool moment. It was one of those moments, not some super big feat of strength. We weren't necessarily putting that video up of her holding 175 farmer's tanks in each hand because she broke some world record and we wanted to show everybody this. What we got from it was just this moment of just determination, grit, and intensity that I thought was just wow. This triggered, flip the switch moment that we got 40 more seconds out of Amber on this event than we've ever gotten before. And her reaction as she's going through this event was just pretty wow. It was pretty incredible. Looking back on it, because I was actually out to eat when I'm looking at the video going, oh, geez, this is pretty impressive. Even while I was there, I don't really remember it like it was played back.
Oh, I remember it.
Remember it? Yeah. So I post this video. It goes viral. I guess it goes viral, right? What's that mean anymore? But 1.2 million views and counting. And I thought, wow, this is pretty incredible. what the point of the conversation is that what we got from that video and the response from the listeners really opened my eyes to a world that sadly I didn't think was as bad as it is, and it is this bad. We discovered that we got a lot of really misogynistic comments from the guys in particular, a lot of guys out there that were making these comments about Amber, and a lot of them were, and I wrote them down. Let me just read a few to you here, Amber.
Oh boy.
There's no way that was 175 pounds in each hand. That was the common theme, it seemed, for a while. Strong man, by the way, so apparently you're a transgender competing as a woman. I can do without the screaming. What's the purpose of all that? Nothing. Why, though? The other ones were need to learn how to meditate and to take the pain and quit screaming like a girl.
Yeah.
These are just a few, right? And what really got me going in this direction is that in our bubble, in our gym bubble, that is, right, our gym life, we don't see that. What we see guys that work out in the gym, and we look at the females or the girls working out in the gym as equals to us, putting in effort. I don't think I've ever stood back at one point in my life in the gym and went, wow, look at that girl lifting. That's silly. Look at the silly stuff she's doing, or make some misogynistic comment. I just took it for granted that she was my equal in the gym because she's there working out, and it never even crossed my mind to belittle her or to say something that was inappropriate, even to myself. And then what I saw on this TikTok just blew my mind, because it really made me realize that, albeit in our little bubble of fitness, we're make up a small population of the world.
Yeah, I think we have to narrow that down. It's not our bubble of fitness. It's literally our bubble of strength athletes, because that's the reason Planet Fitness exists. That's the reason Curves for Women exists, because it does happen just in the gym, in the regular fitness realm. In the strength realm, it doesn't happen because there are equals. Right. But in the regular fitness realm, it happens. And that's a huge problem, right? Like you said, she had this amazing, like you said, it wasn't an amazing feat of strength. Although I will say, Amber, if you don't know yet, 5 extra pounds, you could set the national record at nationals. So keep that in mind. Your time is good enough to set the national record.
Well, let me point out real quick too. There were 4 other girls in her weight class, and they all held it for a minute.
Yeah.
To take nothing away from them.
Absolutely.
It's just how you held it.
Yeah.
Right. So real quick, I want you to run through that minute and 24 seconds with me. You saw the video enough. Because this is important, because we put it out there on TikTok, we put it out there on Instagram, that you're going to be here with us, because I want you to tell your side of the story, right? Not even that's another side of the story. It is the story. It's exactly what happened. Do you acknowledge, Amber, that you had 175 pounds in each hand?
I do.
Yeah. And go through that minute, 24 seconds. You saw the video enough. What was going through your head when you were, and go ahead, give it to us.
Okay.
Let us know.
Well, name's called. Step up to the platform, and I'm like, there is no way. Seeing Emily held it for 2 minutes. I was just like, oh my God, my measly 26 seconds in the gym. There's no comparison here. And I'm like, I have no business stepping on this platform right now. 2 minutes, congratulations, that was amazing. Pick up the weights, time starts, and it's like, this isn't so bad. And I'm like, I got family looking out, friends. I'm looking in the stands, and I was like, look at all these people like here supporting me, and I'm just having fun. And then I was like, okay, it's burning now. Like, what is this feeling? And I look over at Joe, and he's like, the one quote is, "It's okay, you're not hurting." And I just wanted to scream back, "You don't know that I am burning. I am hurting so bad right now." He's like, "It's not time to drop it yet." And I'm like, "Yes, it is." In my mind, I'm like, "Goy." So at that point, still talking, and later you revealed that you were doing it on purpose. I thought you were just like, it was so mind-burning, just like holding it there. And then I don't even know why I said I can't do it, because at that point I really wanted to drop it. It was over in my mind. But then I had like the switch, like, channel something, just do something. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to move my feet. I don't know what the rules are for this. I was just told to pick it up and hold it. So I was like, scream. Because that's all I can think to do. It'll pass the time, my throat will hurt a little bit, and I won't think about my hands so much. And then I started screaming, and I actually felt some, like, relief. And in the comments sections, I did read a little bit. So many people were supporting that. Like, screaming helps your body. And it just alleviates so much stress.
As you found out.
As I found out.
Yeah, right. Because this was your first really...
It really was. I
this
practiced
isn't normal.
it one time, and I was like, I got to do something because I don't think I've even held it for 45 seconds yet. That was my mind. And so the pterodactyl screams. Let's go there. The pterodactyl screams. They crack me up. I just went to that place, and I have never passed out before in any kind of lifting, in practicing in the gym, in competition. So I did put the weights down because I was like, this is it. I'm passing out. This is what it feels like. I felt my legs starting to shake. And
you see that in the video, actually, your leg, like, really quick.
I was like, I don't know what happens after this. I've never even started shaking before. So I was like, I'm putting it down. This is where I concede.
The lights are going out. It's happening.
And I was like, I don't want to be woken up on the field. So I was like, I concede. Here's we're done.
Yeah, it was. It's certainly everything that you went through. I know was spontaneous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, when I saw the video, we captured that minute and 24 seconds. I thought right away, like, wow, it's not about the weight. It was never about the weight. It was more about seeing somebody, whether that's you or anybody else. I'd be in just as much awe at that moment because I expect certain things out of you, of course, and I'm going to push you like that. But just to see somebody take it to the next level, right? That switch being flipped, that moment where you want to give up, but you don't. We always talk about that in the gym. You got one more rep in you. You got one more second in you, 5 more seconds in you, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people never really experience what that feels like. And I think what we saw in the comments was the feedback of these losers, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, these idiots that have no business commenting. Look, watch, and move on. Yeah. Because if you haven't got anything good to say about that, move the fuck along.
Yeah. So that, like you said, I think the reason that video was so impactful for everybody, not just women, but for everybody, was we captured that moment.
Right.
That moment from, if you will, average to great. Right, that it's that thing, that intangible everybody talks about. You either have it or you don't.
That's a great way to put
those
that.
things that everybody talks about, which everybody actually has, but we captured that moment. We captured that transition in Amber. And to the guy that said I could do without the screaming, she needs to learn to meditate. Motherfucker, you ain't never picked up that weight in your life, so shut up. Because I'm gonna be honestly like,
it's hard not to get
there's
upset.
There's a reason,
right?
man. There is an actual legitimate scientific reason behind screaming. It releases adrenaline in the body. It releases endorphins, which will actually allow you to hold the weight more. It expels CO, which actually gets out of your muscles, which prevents cramping. So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, none of that Amber was thinking.
None of that was thinking that, but don't get on her post either and say I can do without the screaming. You know what I can do without your stupid fucking comment. So there was, that's one. People got on there saying it wasn't the weight. And you know what? Who gives a fuck? It wasn't even about the weight. It was the weight. I was there. Come see me. But you won't because you're a bitch. There was that comment, right? There was a comment about her being a man. These are all comments. Let me tell you something right now that I learned a long time ago in business and personal life and in the gym. The only people that talk down to somebody are motherfuckers that can't do it. The only people that talk down to somebody are people that are beneath you, and all those motherfuckers that commented that shit are beneath you. They can't pick up 300 pounds or 350 pounds, so guess what? You couldn't have either. And that's why they comment that shit. Because they're all a bunch of little bitches. My name's Robert Millar. Come see me.
Yeah, and you're pretty fired up about
Woo!
it. Yes. Anyhow, it's funny because I remember as this was going on, I think at like 500,000 views, and I'm telling Amber, just don't comment on it. These people are trying to get your goat right now. And then, I did once or twice, but I had a profile, but they don't know it's me. I'm like, just stop. It's not worth it. And then I get a hold of Robbie. Robbie's like, fuck it, I'm commenting. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, Then I'm holding myself back going, well, I'm not going to comment. I'm not. And then, of course, after so long, you can only take so much. And I was trying to be more articulate than, calling them out. But in any case, yeah.
The only reason that I even started reading the comments was because I was like, I've never had this exposure. I don't know what this means. And so I started I just want to thank everybody for the positivity, for one. I never thought of myself as somebody that somebody else could look up to. You know, I'm just doing something that I enjoy.
Well, and let me preface that, Amber, because I know you won't talk about it, but you know, you came from some pretty dark places in your life, and this is only 2 years in the making.
Yeah.
I mean, this opportunity that you have lifting is something that you manifested in the last couple of years. It's not something that was ever a part of your life. You're not some super athlete or some super, you don't mind me saying it, you're trying to still find out a lot about yourself.
Absolutely.
So a moment like that is pretty awesome just for yourself, but to be able to have the response you did.
Yeah.
And I want to say this because we're talking about 1.2 million views. And we're talking, I think it was about 8,000 or 9,000 comments that we got, which is a significant amount of comments. It was just a small portion, but it was enough. It was enough to make me scratch my head to wonder, or just to realize that we still live in this misogynistic world. Yeah. Enough to make me go, I'm embarrassed for you men out there.
Dude, I'm embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. But in any case, the support you got from the women was to me just the most special thing about this, right?
100%.
There was this rallying cry. I mean, you were giving these guys a little bit of shit. Amber secretly snuck on and gave them a little bit of shit. But after about a day, we didn't have to do that anymore. No. Because thousands of women were getting on going, fuck off, you losers.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing. Look at yourself in the mirror. Get off the couch, you know? I thought that was pretty special.
Let's go back a little bit. I went in with facts here. I didn't want to talk down to somebody else because maybe they're suffering and they don't know. Like you said, I came from a very, very dark place. I was not myself in those times. So maybe they are literally suffering. Like, I can't ever do that. So, like you said, nobody else should be able to. They don't know how to take those first steps. So I came in with, like, facts. Women tend to be pound for pound stronger. It's been covered. And then just the women who took on after that, I couldn't believe it. I was actually started tearing up when I saw some of these people just like Queen or whatever. I was like, I've never
crying for you.
You know, my favorite comment was when one of the girls went on there and said, "Why am I crying right now?"
And she was one of hundreds.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you crying? And it really brought to my mind, like, there's a whole other perspective like we're talking about. It was not about the weight. Like, the deadlift after that to me felt more impressive than a farmer's hold. Like, just being able to deadlift 350, you know? Like, being able to hold that for the time that I did, it wasn't about the weight. We've said that over and over.
Yeah, it wasn't an impressive feat to you in your mind. You're more zeroed in on the deadlift or the bench press or something like that, just to simply do what you did. And again, I don't think you recognized the moment. I certainly know I didn't recognize the moment till after the fact, and I did there. But when I watched the video back, I thought, wow, this is really a emotional thing. And when I posted that video, I think that was the connection that was made. Obviously, despite the assholes out there, that was the connection that was made, because a lot of times on social media, particularly on TikTok, as I'm finding out in my first week on TikTok, it's a lot of bullshit, right? It's guys,
sure.
It's these million views and all this are coming from people that are lip syncing other people's songs or doing some silly dance that apparently I have to do.
You have to do now.
or these girls showing their tits and ass or something, you know, and dancing to a song, and hey, listen,
good for you.
Good for you, and I don't mind watching that either from time to time. I'm not awoke. Before all you woke people out there get all pissed at me, I'm not woke. I'm awake. Okay, I'm still a man to some degree, and I think there's some tolerance for that, right? Amber, can I say that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still gonna say stupid shit occasionally, but I promise you, I won't be putting down women anytime soon, because that's not my thing at all. But in any case, I thought there was an emotional connection, right? Because why would a video like that do so well? And I think in large part because people connected with it emotionally, like you just said it, for whatever reason. And you're right, there's a lot of guys out there that probably have these issues, and maybe that's what they're going to struggle with. And by the sounds of it, they may not even get over it. But in defense of men, there was a lot of men that came to your defense as well.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to that, because those are the men that truly recognize they don't, and like you guys said, they're equals. And I, as a female, have never gone into a gym and looked at another female or even a man and said, I can do way better than them. I've never had that attitude. And to have The women, sure, thank you for the encouragement, and I would expect that from women. But to have men start sticking up and saying, that was incredible, I couldn't have done that myself, I just, like, the support blows my mind.
Yeah. Of course you wouldn't go into the gym and think that, that you're better than anybody in there, because why? Like,
that's what I'm
weightlifting,
saying.
no matter what, is an individual thing. So it has nothing to do with what somebody else can or can't do in the gym.
We're simply just motivated by it.
And everything that to do with what bettering myself as an individual. So these people that use weightlift, like compare themselves to other people in weight, I just don't understand in the first place.
I completely agree with that, because from the starting point, I think, hopefully I can say this completely honestly, I never did any of this for anybody else but myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I never started getting healthy for the looks of it. I did it for myself. Yep. I never started powerlifting for anybody else, for the approval of anybody, for the nationals, for just even competition. Competition was never in my mind. Never did it for anybody but myself. Strongman. The moment that we discovered that I could even lift a log above my head, you said, let's do this just for us. Like, let's see what you can accomplish. Strongman was never a part of a plan. It just fell into place because we wanted to have fun and explore new things,
Yeah, and that's what you were doing out there. Just the more validation to the road you're on, kind of like these moments where you can have just with yourself. I think we all do. I do it still as well, believe it or not. Where I have these moments of, okay, I can do this.
Yeah,
I did a good job.
Yeah.
I feel good about where I'm at and what I'm doing, and it's not necessarily one of those egotistical things. It's more like, I'm still on this path myself, and to be able to make those type of accomplishments and do it and then make a connection with people, I think was really cool.
Yeah, and I think the main thing that kind of irked me about those negative comments, on the video wasn't necessarily that they were attacking Amber and Amber's my sister.
I couldn't be more bothered.
I couldn't
honestly.
care less.
Or less bothered.
The thing that bugged me is how dare they take that away from people that use that for motivation? Like, how dare they take that away from somebody who is struggling, who who is in the same position as Amber, or who just happened to get on TikTok and go, look at her, like I can do that too. Like, the balls that you think you have to try and take that away from somebody else that's what bothers me about it.
I'm just gonna open this door here.
Yeah.
Since you went there, and this has no call for a guilt trip here. Coming from 2 years ago, I had a date set to end my life. I was over everything, and suicide was the only option to make me feel better. I actually went and saw a strongman speak, just by happenstance, a strongman speak. And I don't even know if I told you this part.
No, I've never heard this. No.
This part is not something that this is pretty big for me to come out and publicize my story. So I went and saw a strongman, and he started speaking, and he did all these cool things. He bent like frying pans and everything on stage in front of everybody, just rolled it in his hand, and I was like, dang, that's really cool. So I was hooked in this, and then he just started like motivationally speaking to somebody, and then he kind of just looked out in the crowd, and I'm really sucked in there at this point, and he's like, suicide isn't the option. And I was like, how did he know? Just talking. It's not your option. And I just broke down, and I was like...
You felt like he was talking directly to you.
Speaking directly to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, suicide's not your option. Don't do it. And I was like, this guy literally is making me think about everything that was going to happen in the next day or two. So getting healthy, moving on from there, making a very long story short, I used weights as my outlet to keeping my life going. And for a while, I had to force myself to get into the gym. How much can you pick up today? Because you're making progress. How much further can you do this bike in an hour? I was biking like 15 miles in an hour, and I was pretty proud of that. So I was like, what can we do this time?
What's next?
What can we do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What can I do to keep my mind healthy? Mm-hmm. And I grew up in all of that, and I learned to love myself apart from everybody else's opinions and feelings, and I learned to only value my own opinion and the people who are closest to me when I ask for it, you know? So when people start commenting negative things, it didn't even bother me. I just blew it off. I was like, honestly, I know what I did. I know the accomplishment that I made personally. It has nothing, like we're going back, it had nothing to do with the weight because people held it longer than I did. People lifted more than I did. Had nothing to do with the weight. No, not even close. So it was just one of those moments for me, like one person commented, it's amazing what your body can do past your mind. And it was like...
It was almost this, if somebody referred to it as this releasing the demon almost.
Yeah.
And maybe to some degree, Amber, that moment, you know, not to maybe turn into more than what it was, your hands just ripping off your skin ripping off your hands and your scream was simply out of pain. But, you know, maybe there's some correlation there that you released quite
absolutely.
a bit.
Sure. to this point, I mean, that moment, you know, is she's won events and she's podium events and she podiumed there again. But that, I think, to a little bit, like, you know, if we're going to dig into things psychologically, like that's kind of the pinnacle of that journey so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've been witnessing it, I would say so. And it didn't dawn on me until I saw it a day later and thought, there's something going on in this mind right now. There's something that I just witnessed that I just took for granted because I know you maybe, and we've spent some time together and shared a lot of different events together, as Robbie has with us as well. And I just realized at that moment, this is what I want to share. Fuck all the weight. That didn't have anything to do with it. What you were doing, whether it was better than a guy or better than a girl or better than your competitors, or had nothing to do with it. It was simply you were the culmination of your emotion, and you took it to that next level, and you got to, like you said, Robbie, witness that moment where somebody said, I can't do it. And then 24 seconds later, I think it might have been close to 30 seconds.
I don't know.
Later, you're still doing it. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, and to get back, here's some great comments for you, right? I wrote these down because this is important. This was the women rallying cry behind you, right? Warrior spirit, Viking, badass, goddess, beast mode, impressive, gives me the chills. I don't know why I cried to this, right? I watched, I saw that so many times, different versions of that. Obviously, you got some marriage proposals as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, she did. A couple guys wanted to marry her. Asked her if she was single.
When are we getting the invite, man?
Yeah, I know, right?
I also saw somebody ask if she would carry in their groceries all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Let's pause here for a second and confirm. One trip only. Answered all of it.
She's a one-trip grocery
40
carrier.
bags, two cases of soda, one trip.
Yeah, and I thought that one too, right? And I know there were some more feminist type women out there who were even getting kind of upset with that one, right?
No.
I'm like, come on.
I laughed at every single one of them.
We all carry groceries. I get that one. And even some of the more sort of...
and in fact, it's our job to carry the groceries.
Well, no, careful.
Oh, yeah, no, hey.
Careful,
I carry my own groceries, thank you. You're not going to crush my loaf of bread and break my eggs.
Even some of the more sexist type comments were funny. I mean, like we said, I think most women today have some tolerance for the silliness of men.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
We wouldn't have to repeat those.
We're the weaker species and the dumber species. Listen, I don't know what we got.
I told you we're this show. We're a big fan of women.
Yeah.
In general, I said, but certainly in strength sports, it amazes me. It continues to amaze me. But there was this one quote. Geez, oh Pete, said I can't remember. I probably didn't write it down. Oh, here it is. I just cried the tears of 1,000 screams watching this boss push past, I can't do it. And that kind of summed it up.
That's the moment.
That was the moment, right? I just cried the tears of 1,000 screams watching this boss push way past, I can't do it. And that's what you captured, right? That was that moment. I think that was what that was all about. So to all you TikTokers out there, we're not done yet, but we don't manifest this stuff. It just sort of happens. And, this was an opportunity to get on a podcast and talk about a little stuff.
I will tell you, though, we'll probably never have another video like that.
No, I don't expect we will.
No. We might get one that has more views, but that raw moment, candid, unexpectedly, we'll never have another video like that.
No, it by itself kind of sets in its own league, And I hope we see more of that.
Sure.
Whether we capture it or not just from you or me
other
or anybody
people,
else. Yeah, I'd love to see that. That was raw emotion, man. That That was it.
Yeah, and I'll just touch on like one final conclusion with that. To the women specifically, but also to the men, because it's never just one-sided. You can do anything that you set your mind to. There's a quote that I live by that I've grown up with, and it's, you'll be where you want to be. If you want to be a couch potato and eat those bags of chips every day, all day long, that's where you'll be. But if you want to be somebody who is strong and independent and can do these incredible things, then you will chase that no matter how long it takes. So do not give up on yourself. Put yourself above everything else and keep chasing that, because you will get there. It might take you longer than some. It might be pretty quick for you. Don't stop chasing it. Don't give up to it. And don't succumb to the people who try to discourage you, because that's
it would have been easy for some people to do, right? You read those kind of comments to not maybe a person that was in a different place than you.
Yeah.
I think it gets back around to really the effect that has. I know those comments had zero effect on you. I get that.
Yeah.
They're not fun to read, even as a guy when you see those comments, but for people that are in a different place,
absolutely,
they can have a big impact.
Yeah. What if it wasn't me?
What if? Yeah.
What if it was somebody who was dealing with the same things, and that was just to push them over the edge, you know?
Yeah.
People in a time where there is so much division, people need to learn to love one another despite their differences.
100%.
Yeah, and if something doesn't impress you, move on. You don't need to comment about it. Who gives a shit? Yeah, I didn't expect 4 billion views, and I didn't expect, you know what I mean? It's just like, all right, it didn't impress you, move on. You don't have to say anything. It is what it is, but that's the world we live in. You were just talking about what the next viral video is going to be. It very well could be my dance.
It's probably going to be.
I sure hope so.
I haven't quite picked the tune yet. It's either going to be that.
Oh, no, we've picked the tune.
What is it? Whipped cream on top? What's
something like...
I say that like I'm putting whipped cream on myself right now.
The milkshake.
I think we should do the TikTok dance over the top of her video.
Oh yeah. Perfect, right.
We'll green screen her video in the back, and you just dance in front of her.
Well, we have to have some reference to it, right? I couldn't believe that when I said, we'll never get 1,000 subscribers or whatever the followers. Yeah, your video, it's pretty much. I fucked myself there pretty good. So in any case, I think we can call that a day.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah, that's just an interesting conversation, and we appreciate those of you who are still listening in on this, because we went off on a little rant, a social media rant, if you will. But there's a lot of correlation to that and the lifting community and where we all kind of, life in general. We just had a small sampling of it through you, and thank you for that moment. That was awesome. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people would also concur. So again, thanks to everybody out there following the gym life. As I mentioned before, we don't necessarily talk about the things that normal gym podcasts talk about from time to time. We go off on these life tangents as well, and this is a perfect example of it here today. So thanks for everybody for tuning in. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way, a lot of interviews, and a lot more fun episodes in the future. So stay strong. We'll see you soon.